Hello all, my name is Samira Gonzalez and this is my Week 6 multimedia presentation on public versus private for MPA 510 History and Theory of Public Administration. During this week's presentation, I'll be discussing public schools and private schools and how general public administration impacts how they are ran. When determining if a public school can be ran like a private school, there are certain criteria that a public school has compared to what a private school has. So from a public school perspective, there is no tuition. They're funded by the government. There are federal and state regulations that they must follow. Teachers have to be licensed and are certified. They're usually teaching a larger population, and then there are testing criteria that needs to be met. From a private school perspective, they're tuition driven. There's limited regulations in which they have to follow. Teachers do not necessarily have to be certified. They're teaching a smaller population. They also have a choice of admitting versus not admitting a student to their school, and they have to also follow certain testing criteria. Overall, there are 6 main variables in which one should examine. You have your goals and objectives, legal and accountability, actions and politics, organizational structures, revenue and funding, scope, efficiency, control, as well as decision making. So what are the general public administration documents, theories, and theorists that play a part in how our public schools and private schools are ran? The documents, theories, and theorists that impacts how a public school is ran compared to a private school are the Constitution, our Bill of Rights, federalism, and the Pendleton Act. All of these impacts the public schools' goals and objectives, their legal framework, their public accountability, freedom of action, political character, as well as the question of their economic interest. You also have Weber, who looks at the organizational structure. You have Wilson's dichotomy that will look at the actual funding and budgeting associated with public schools. You have Lindenblum, who looks at the scope, decision making, as well as the legal framework and how policies and procedures are put together. Now, the hybrid between public schools as well as private schools, you have theorists such as Allison, who actually laid the framework out for your public and your private sectors. From a public administration standpoint, you have Revlin, and you also have Merton. Merton comes into place because from a private school standpoint, there's no true red tape, and Merton spoke about that in his theory. In conclusion, can a public school actually be ran like a private school? And in certain instances, there's a part of it that can be. However, the overarching answer to that question will be no. Being part of public administration, public schools are responsible for implementing the government and academic discipline. And if you look at how private schools are ran, they do not have to adhere to many of the laws. From a public standpoint and being part of public administration, we have to serve the people. We must follow our founding documents as well as statutes in order to bring forth the best for children in which we serve. Here are my references. Thanks for watching.